Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe. Cantu is on my right. Steban is on my left. What a weekend for your Houston Astros. We were talking about a sweep previously, 3 game sweep against the Arizona Diamondbacks. They were on top of the American League. And then things can just happen. And sure enough, got swept by the Athletics for the first time in nearly a decade and dropped the first game to the Washington Nationals. 4 game winning streak heading into Houston. Now they are riding a 5 game losing streak. It's the beauty of baseball, boys.
Yeah, it's crazy, but every time the A's come to town, I didn't, they've been the Astros kryptonite this season. Honestly, I don't know if it's the green. It's just that team. Superman has that green kryptonite, but this is a team that balls out, and you saw with Nick Kurtz. Wow, epic game there, and a bunch of young studs. The pitching held up for the A's too. Were able to limit the Astros, but it wasn't. I think this is a series where both the Astros fans want to forget very, very soon.
Yeah, this is just something that you just kind of like brush under and just sweep it away. The Astros weren't able to. The struggles continue to show. The guys pitching are either leaving stuff over the plate, or just not doing really too well on their command, and it just when you have a team like the Athletics that's full of a bunch of young studs. I mean, what do you expect? The guys are going to come in hungry to it, especially a big city like Houston. You go from a lot of these guys going into Oakland, and then they had to deal with the sell the team chance, little ticket sales, empty stadiums, and then they had to deal with the drama, and then they go transition to Sacramento, and then now it's a minor league field. So it's like, think about it, you just got all kinds of like stuff all over your shoulders, all over your back, and you're just like, man, there's so much drama going on with the media. I just want to play baseball and ball out. And so guess what? Like now these guys are just balling out and showing that they're a good team. So I mean, they're gonna be possibly a good I feel like they'll be eventually not build a rival, but it's gonna be a good little matchup for years to come with the Astros since they're in our division.
Yeah, I mean, the future's bright over there. Lawrence Butler, as well as Brent Rooker, they signed him to a contract extension. Shea Langoliers, Jacob Wilson. You already saw Nick Kurtz, which had his family. If you didn't read and didn't see, his godparents
Yeah.
were in town. That was pretty cool for them to witness baseball history right there. 4 home runs, 6 for 6. My gosh, I mean, have a game, and that's why he was the American League Player of the Week. Why we nod our heads over there? Why?
Because it's just crazy. I mean, it was honestly a really, really cool performance to like rewatch and see. Because like that's not something anybody could just go out there to do. Because like you could throw me, and you could throw pretty much any MLB player like nothing but meatballs. A lot of times they're not gonna get it over, and then they could pop it out. They're gonna ground it out, trying to kill it too much. And then, I mean, he just showed it like nonchalantly, just putting the bat out there. Like, I mean, he had a couple opposite field home runs into the Crawford box. That's still like it's still not that easy to kind of make yourself a little late on the pitch and take it out the other way.
Yeah, I believe it was 3 home runs to the Crawford boxes, one pulled. Honestly, he
Yeah,
could have had 5 home runs
yeah.
in that game, but it just nearly missed that yellow line in left center. But we're really gonna go quick through this athletic series because I mean the offense was not to be found really throughout that whole series, as well in the opener against the Nationals. And we're gonna title this episode 275. Astros need reinforcements because it's the damn truth that Houston really needs pitching. They need more than anything. They need offense. They need Jeremy Pena to come back. We'll get you them injury updates pretty soon. I know right here, just a spoiler, he's going to be playing in Sugarland tomorrow. So if you're heading or you're near the area over there in Constellation Field, go check out a
Oh,
game.
and then one thing I wanted to see, I seen too on social media that I guess in honor of Pena being there, they're doing like some $5 margaritas Tuesday thing or something there. So I mean, if you're big on your alcohol, you want some cheap drinks and a good little Jeremy Pena action up close, closer than you'll see him at Minute Maid, go ahead, go enjoy yourself.
And not to remind everybody too, you must drink responsibly. You forgot about that part. So,
Yeah, my
and I
bad, my
know,
bad.
I know. You got excited
My
with the
son's
marks.
my son's about to go get hired by
Yeah, I got
Sugarland as their media person, getting everybody up in there.
But the Astros are 60 and 47, first in the American League West still. And it's crazy how this turned out to be after that series against Seattle, there were 4 games. They still had 4 games ahead of them. After that 3 game sweep in Arizona, they were 6. And now, at the moment, dropping that series opener to the Nationals, they are 3.5 games in front of the Mariners and the Rangers. Mariners and Rangers right now have a record of 56-50. They're
And
tied for second.
and
And
right now, the Mariners are beating the Athletics 3-0 in the top of the fifth.
yeah, and not to mention too, this Texas Rangers team, they are on a heater. They are hot as of this moment. 91 their last 10 games. They just swept the Braves at Globe Life Field as well. What's the?
And then
Do you have the score for the Rangers or no?
Jacob Degrom is just like
Yeah, what?
pitching as better as ever.
I was gonna say, do you have the score for the Rangers by any chance?
I can give it to
It's
you.
four
I just
three.
posted
Angels are up right now. 4-3.
Oh,
Angels are up, bottom of the six.
yeah. So
there you go.
if you're an Astros fan, you're cheering for the Angels as well as for the Athletics. So that lead for the Astros and the AL West will stay at 4 games. However, the Astros, I mean, they've been struggling at home now. I mean, they were really doing good in the beginning, and then after this, going into the All Star break against Cleveland and Texas, they lost. They only won 1 game out of them 6 games, and then coming back from the second half of the All Star break, they obviously get swept by Oakland. Well, not Oakland, but the Athletics, and dropped the series opener against the Nationals. They're 1-10 in their last 11 games at home. And we're not going to throw that conspiracy of the batter's eye. That's just
No, that's already out of there.
BS. We do not need to hear that. It's just right now the Astros need offense, and they're relying on backup position players, and that's the
Yeah.
truth. Bryce Matthews, Cooper Hummel, Zach Short. These are guys that are usually on your bench or usually in the farm right now in AAA with the Space Cowboys, and you only have 3 starters that had started on the opening day lineup against the New York Mets in March, and that's Yainer Diaz, Jose Altuve, and Christian Walker. Right now, I would say the one lone Astro that hasn't stepped up that's in that starting lineup since opening day has to be Yainer Diaz. He hasn't really been coming up in clutch moments, and the bat hasn't been as promising as it was as last year. So for sure, like I said, Jerry Pena, news with him, but Yainer has to find a way to get something going with his bat because with Jose Altuve, Christian Walker's done a little good too. That's who they have to rely on with these. You can't even call Yainer Diaz a veteran, but he's been in the league longer than the guys that are playing right now.
And then
Yeah.
another person like is kind of like taking toll on and affecting little by little is Cam Smith. Yeah, you asked him to do a lot, which he is doing a lot, and I've heard mentioning that he mentioned that sometimes it's okay to take the later bus to the games or whatever situations to go train and bat because he said he's been overdoing himself. I mean, it happens, whenever you try to be so perfect, but at the end of the day, you do got to get your rest as well. And then you're asking somebody that I believe was coming off of like a 50-game season in college or something with a couple little playoff games, obviously, but now he's gonna play more than double than that. So I mean, you kind of, not an excuse, but I mean, obviously you're gonna get tired, when you're not used to a big league season. I mean, especially when you have people that are hurt, then you have to play. It's like, what can they really do? Like you're really important piece in this lineup.
Yeah, like we've been just like we've been saying the past 2 podcasts now. Injuries are taking a toll on this team. It's kind of hard to win with, you know, like you said, only 3 people, 3 players that were only opening the roster still in the roster right now because of the injuries. It's kind of hard to do that. And the Astros have been getting, we're fortunate enough in the beginning to have excellent pitching from Framber, from Brown, Walter, guys like that, right? And Hunter Brown has, I, I wouldn't even say struggled a late because he's still doing like pitching, 5 innings, 6 innings to get a quality start, but he hasn't been nearly as perfect as he was. And when your team can't score more than 3, 4 runs a game, it's going to be hard to win many of them.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
make a good point.
I wanted to bring up as of Ramber Valdez in 134 innings, he has a 2.62 ERA with 141 strikeouts, and Hunter Brown 124 innings with a 2.54 ERA and 149 strikeouts. But like you did mention, Angel, the way that things are with the offense right now, with big pieces missing, is like whenever one of these guys gives up a run or two, it's like, dang, like, are we gonna get those runs back right now?
Yeah, I
And it's
think
kind of hard for the Astros. They get somebody on, and what happens? A double play, or just pop ups, or strikeouts. So I mean,
yeah, no, we're still in the A series, but Monday's game was a prime example of that. Like Framber Valdez pitched great, yet the offense couldn't score more than 2 runs to give them a W. Like it's just, you know, it's just, and it's, and it wasn't even against, their Washington's best pitcher either. It was like middle end of the pitching rotation pitcher.
and he almost threw a
Guys like
perfect. Well, he was throwing a perfect game.
yeah, he was cruising through what 4 or 5 innings. So it's just one of those days for the Astros.
Yeah, let's go through this athletic series real quick. We'll get to that Nationals one because I'm gonna bring out a stat that's really mind blowing. That Houston honestly should have been favored to. I mean, they were already favored to win this game, but should have won this game, especially with Framber Valdez on the mound. But the Athletics outscored Houston throughout that whole series, 32-7. That's something that you just got to tip your cap to. I mean, Oakland's offense just really did a tremendous job against Houston. Even their pitching too kept the Astros hitters off balance. Houston just couldn't get nothing going. And, game one lost 5-2. Jason Alexander was on the mound for the Astros. Game two. Obviously, a lot of Astro fans saw that game, kind of saw it to like the second inning and decided to probably switch it on a Friday night with the 15-3 loss to, which was more than likely called the Nick Kurtz game. That was with Ryan Gusto on the mound. Game three, you had Hunter Brown. And if you're an Astros fan, you felt optimistic in this game, at least to start something going, hopefully not drop the series to the Athletics. But I mean, Hunter Brown did his job, 5 innings, 4 hits, only gave them up an earned run, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Like you said, Angel, just the offense wasn't there. And sure enough, they dropped that one 5-1. Last but not least, game three, Astros only scoring 1 run. Colin Gordon giving up four
Game,
earned runs
Game
game
in
four, game
four.
5 innings.
game four.
And yeah, and that was a loss as well, 7-1, with the Astros scoring that 1 run to not be shut out against the Athletics with a Mauricio Dubon RBI double in the ninth. So overall thoughts, because like I said, we were going to go through this recap real damn quick. Astros, just the offense has not been there. 18th game in a row, too, not to mention where the opponent scores first. That finally ended with this Nationals series opener. And more than likely, and title of this episode, reinforcements are needed badly, especially with the bats.
I mean, it was just again, like I said in the beginning, this is a series where the Astros would like to forget, just cross it out, never happened, get back on track because again, like and it's just they need some reinforcement. That's what the name of the episodes like that. They need some help, and you know, I'm sure the Astros would like to just wait for the guys to get healthy, but when the lead when you're up 6 games and you're winning a majority of them, okay, then that gives you the luxury to wait a little bit. But at this point, you lost 5 in a row. The Mariners are and Rangers are catching up. Trade deadline's about to end. You rather have a surplus of players that can be on the field than trying to figure out who's going to play this position, who's going to be that. So a move's going to have to be made. I know the Astros already eyeing their options there, but they need the help.
Yeah, the Astros been, plugging and playing, moving pieces up here and there, trying this and that. And then, I mean, obviously, like, I want to say Espada is like somewhere in the upper north of the different lineups that he's rolled out this season, which are none really the same. And I mean, whenever you do that, like,
A
some
hundred
people
different
are
lineups.
yeah,
Mhm.
100 different lines. Okay, there you go. So when you're like that, some people are superstitious. Some people love to hit in the two spot, the three spot, the four spot. Some people like their jobs and don't want to be the leadoff guy, don't want to be batting the ninth. So I mean, there's certain things that with baseball players sometimes they get comfortable and they don't really want to move or change things. So I mean, just things happen whenever you don't have everybody healthy. The Astros wouldn't be struggling possibly as this much if we didn't have so much injuries, but things happen. It's baseball. They're going to have to do what you're going to have to do. You're going to have moments like this in careers of baseball seasons, and not everything's going to be perfect. I mean, no matter how good you want this team to be. I mean, they just have to overcome these obstacles, and little by little, we're getting people back. But one thing I did want to bring up: league most starting inning pitched by rookies this season. The Astros are second with 100. Well, this was as of Friday. The Astros were second with 171 innings with the average of 4.32 ERA, only behind the White Sox.
Yeah, the White Sox have a lot of starting
Yeah, yeah.
rookies in their rotation, but and this wouldn't happen with Houston if there weren't too many injuries. I mean, no one thought Hayden Wesneski was already going to need Tommy John. No one thought Ronel Blanco was going to need Tommy John. Just think about it last year. Everybody had same thing coming into
Or
that
or
season.
Jake Myers, somebody that stays healthy and plays
Yeah,
dang near
exactly.
almost every game.
Jake Myers too, but like last year, Jose Urquidy needing Tommy John, Christian Javier needing Tommy John. So it's kind of like it's almost the same thing from last season, but of course you have people from last season still rehabbing and still continuing their throwing programs, and they weren't going to be ready until the second half or the tail end of the 2025 season. So yeah, reinforcements are coming. Going to the series opener real quick with the Astros, with Framber Valdez being on the mound, and like I had mentioned with the Hunter Brown start, a lot of Astro fans optimistic with Framber Valdez, especially because he really doesn't lose any games when he is on the mound. I mean, I believe what 13 straight games when Framber's pitching, the Astros
Yeah,
have won. So
Which was broken today, sadly.
yes, it was broken today, but Framber pitched a hell of a game. 6 innings, 3 hits, only giving up an earned run, 2 walks, and 12 strikeouts. And that's the part I wanted to talk about was the strikeouts. The Astros pitching staff in this game gave the Nationals double digit, almost close to 20 strikeouts,
Yeah,
19
19.
strikeouts as a team. The only one in that lineup that didn't strike out was Nathaniel Lowe. And
And
you're
then
telling
like
me
if you
Houston
look
can't
if
score.
you look at that, if you look at that on any score sheet, you're possibly gonna think that that team lost. Literally with like
That's my
19
and that's my
strikeouts.
point. That is my point. You know,
yeah.
you got to take advantage of that game when your pitching staff is striking out and every player on this lineup, and the offense can't even scratch. I mean, they scratched one run, but you got to get another run some way somehow. And I told y'all off the camera, seventh inning was the perfect time for them to at least tie that game. Runners on first and second. Yainer Diaz up to the plate. Credit to him, he did hit the ball very hard. I think it was like 108 off the bat. But double play, and then obviously the Mauricio Dubon strikeout was honestly not a strikeout, but that umpire behind the
Yeah.
play was just horrific for both sides. So it's just one of them games you really want to have back because this could change the momentum of your team. But at the same time, too, you got to find a way to manufacture runs. Especially like you can go back to that series against Seattle. Houston was very shifty and crafty of manufacturing runs, sacrifice
Mhm.
bunts. Oh, it almost felt like they were hitting runs too.
Yeah.
Opposite field hits. Bryce Matthews stepping up. Christian Walker obviously having the homecoming back to Arizona for the first time. That's what you needed in this start against Washington because you are, I don't want to say desperate, but it honestly, you are desperate for a win right now because you have the Mariners and you have the Rangers literally clawing behind you, just ready to take over that first position of that new and of that division.
Well, honestly, Astros fans probably might be looking at me crazy when I say this, but I think these last 5 games have been kind of a blessing in disguise for the Astros. And what I mean about that is, imagine if the Astros went 5-0 against the A's in this first game Monday, right? With the trade deadline looming, if you're Dan Brown, Jim Crane, it was like, do I really need to give up some prospects, make a change when they're winning ball games, have this lead, and then next thing you know, it's the end of the trade deadline, and bam, this slump happens. The fact that it happened early kind of makes Dan Brown and Jim Crane think, I was like, okay, although we were doing good, this is we need to make a move because obviously, it's a game of adjustments. Like, yeah, for example, Colton Gordon starting off got, but now they have a lot of fill on him. They have a lot of, things the way he likes to work. So that he's adjusting there. Same thing with Hunter Brown. They have a lot of fill on him, stuff like that. So with the hitters too, Taylor Trammell, guys like, Chas McCormick too, they have a lot of fill on them and they're going to adapt to, to get them out, and that's exactly what's going on there. So I think the fact that this 5 game losing streak happened right before the trade deadline just gives the Astros, a little bit more, uh, like I lost the word, like a little bit more focus on making some reinforcements instead of just like waiting it out, hoping for the guys to come back, and then you're stuck in this losing streak after the trade deadline where you really can't do much. So yeah,
Yeah, you have a big point here. Like the Astros are literally just running with a two-headed dragon with the 1-2 punch, Framber and Hunter. So think about it. All these hitters, they really just got to really mostly focus on these two dominant guys because Colton, Gordon, Brandon Walter, Ryan Gusto. Yes, they are big leaguers, but to some of these big leaguers, they're nothing to them. You know what I mean? They like just see them as a regular, BP pitcher to them. A lot of these guys see them as not as dominant as you'll see a Framber and Hunter who have a lot of move on their stuff. I'm not saying Colton and Brandon don't have nice breaking balls, but at the end of the day, they're not as up there in velocity like Framber and Hunter is as well. That can still blow you by with their fastballs or sinkers. But one thing that we were talking about Framber is today, his game today, he had 12 strikeouts that we did talk about, and also those were all on curveballs, 17 swing and misses on his curveball.
Yeah, and that's always been his bread and butter, the sinker and the curveball. If that's working, if it's on point,
yeah,
then it is very hard to touch Framber Valdez in a
yeah.
start.
I was I was writing an article about him about Fran Valdez, and
That's
what
what
I
I was
found
gonna bring up
fascinating,
too.
yeah, well, like what I found fascinating is that since 2018, since he's come up, hitters have hit less than 195 on his curveball. That's
Yeah,
it's just
that's
been
dominant.
dominant for years. Yeah,
And it's like it's beautiful because like when it's on, that thing is just so sharp. Like it's just it's crazy.
yeah,
But also with this game that the Astros, we did drop against the Nationals. Um, it was the first game the Astros scored first since July 4th, snapping their club record streak of 18 consecutive games of letting the opposition score first.
Yeah,
So I
the
mean, it would have been
Houston
better if they
Astros.
would have won. It would have been better if they would have won, but at least they got some bad streak over with. So now what they need to do is get rid of the losing streak and move on from there. Because look, right now this is the Nationals, and they still. I mean, I believe they didn't even play James Wood, which is another secret weapon that they have. The
Yeah, James
Nationals.
Wood didn't play this game.
I
You
don't think he's
also
a secret
you
weapon, but yeah, he's a weapon.
Yeah, I'm not secret weapon, but he's a weapon. But you also you're gonna have some pretty tough stretch coming up too. This weekend Astros are gonna go to Boston. There's gonna have Red Sox. They have Bregman. Best believe he's gonna be playing good. Best believe the team's gonna play good just because this is his old team and they're coming to the house. So this team's gonna play hard. Then you get Marlins, which don't get fooled by them. They have some guys that have been doing their damn job over there. And y'all will see once we play against the Martins who the talents that we're speaking of. Then you get Yankees, then Red Sox again, and then Orioles. So I mean, it's gonna be a good stretch of baseball to come with these guys. And I mean, these reinforcements. I hope they come, and I hope these reinforcements could be sturdy and no injuries. Further do come into play with these players because the Astros are gonna need it, and if they want to pursue the World Series like they really want to and have potential with when they play good, then the time is now. And I mean, you just gotta hope everybody does what they can.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree, especially with this stretch coming up. Kevin Cern, what's going on, man? But yeah, this stretch especially, and you said Red Sox, Marlins, Yankees, Red Sox, Orioles. Them are all American League East teams. That
And
is,
then
I
the
would
and the,
say,
and the Tigers.
and the Tigers. Well, yeah, and I would say the American League East is one of the toughest divisions. I would say besides the NOS in Major League Baseball because you have the Boston Red Sox who caught fire before the All Star break. The Yankees right now have no Aaron Judge due to an IL stint. The Marlins, like you said, Marlins have been playing great baseball. People cannot. I don't know if you've been sleeping under a rock, but they've been playing some damn good baseball. So you can't sleep on Miami. And then of course Baltimore. Baltimore season right now is just one of them seasons, And
Yeah.
Houston saw that after 2015, 2016. They didn't make the playoffs. But yeah, you have to find a way at this trade deadline. Even right now, I would say for the Astros, they got to make moves before the deadline. And obviously, you're not going to get a move from Eugenio. You're not going to get a move from these top trade candidates at the moment, like a Sandy Alcantara too, because those teams right there. are going to wait to the last second and get the best deal they can for those guys. So Houston has to find a way, and we're going to bring it up here in just a second with the trade deadline stuff we're going to bring out. Just wanted to shout out to our two winners of the tickets for tonight's game. Yes, yeah, I think you would have loved to see an Astros win, but hopefully you enjoyed the seats. Lose and J.R. Smith, shout out to y'all for participating. And like I said on our tweet, we're gonna do more giveaways coming soon, and probably two or three, maybe one more ticket giveaway as well. But just shout out to everyone. Shout out to those two for winning the tickets. Like I said, I think they would have loved to see an Astros win, see a losing streak come to an end as well.
Did you say J.R. Smith?
Did I say J.R. Smith? J.R. Martinez, my fault.
I was like, wait, hold on.
Going like that, like the
Nah,
pass
I
to
mean,
LeBron James.
that was very awesome to be able to put together a giveaway like that for the community. Hopefully that helps us, grow and keep y'all connected with us. Stay tuned, like we said. There's gonna be more of those to come. Just give us time and appreciate y'all for entering and joining.
Yes, most definitely. Let's go on with these Astro trade deadline packages. Uh, I constructed some. Angel constructed one. Esteban, I don't know if you constructed one. If you want to, you can try to do it on the top of your head. But before Sunday's game, Dana Brown was on the Astros pregame show on Sports Talk 790 with, of course, the play-by-play announcer on the radio, Robert Ford. And this is a quote from Dana. He said, quote, "We were already looking for a left-handed bat and potentially an infielder. Says there's a good chance they will have to trade from the major league roster to get a deal done." And of course, we've kept y'all updated with what the Astros are looking for, what Dana Brown has been saying, on radios and in articles and all that good stuff. We've seen the best fits from ESPN Jeff Passan to even what Chandler Roma, the beat reporter for the Athletic, had said, and and that's what the Astros need right now. I would let me ask you this real quick before we get into our packages. What's more of a need at this moment? A back in or a number three starter in this rotation, a middle to high relief pitcher in the bullpen, or a left-handed bat?
Um, I would say a pitcher, but I can see the offense, because I can score runs. But the reason I say a pitcher is because yes, you have some coming out, but you do have some pitchers that are not going to be here for the rest of the year, which is like Hayden Wesneski, uh, Reno Blanco. But you do need a hitter because this lineup has been not being able to score runs. So, uh, I guess my final answer, I would just say I switch it. Let's hand a hitter because you do have Javier coming back, Garcia coming back, Eric coming back. So say
Yeah,
let's hand a hitter.
I'm with Danger on that one. I believe I'll be going with a hitter as well, just because we need somebody to spark this lineup and maybe a home run ball guy or just somebody that's gonna be able to spread the field and set the tone for the rest of the lineup. Due to Arrighetti, Garcia, Javi are gonna soon come back, and then potentially later on you might see JP France, but not trying to get nobody's hopes up. He's still trying to rehab as well. So I think a lefty bat or possibly even a switch hitting bat.
Yeah, and let us know in the comments too. We want y'all to participate and tell us who do you think the Astros need to go get? What is their needs at this moment? This is why the episodes need reinforcements because the Astros desperately, I would say, in my opinion, need some type of reinforcements regarding, people coming back from the IL, going out and go getting a trade piece. So yes, please put in the comments and let us know.
And
Even put in your packages too if you want to throw out what would sound good. And we'll throw our opinion out there. But we'll have our packages here in just a second. What are you gonna say, Stefan?
that nobody's really been thrown out there. Like nobody really crazy. I mean, the only big name, kind of not big name, but like, I mean, you saw Josh Naylor go and McMahon to the Yankees. That's about it. Those are like kind of the two bigger guys so far. Everybody else has been kind of like regular big leaguers. Who else got traded? Chris Paddock
Chris
went
Paddock
to the
just recently
Tigers.
got traded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to the Tigers. So it's not really many of that pieces getting moved around. So you could just imagine that it's going to be a crunch time, and everybody's phone's going to be getting slammed with notifications when this trade deadline is going to come to an end. And hopefully, Astros do pursue something nice. But I mean, I see somebody that they're trying to throw also out there too is Nolan Arenado, which kind of already declined wanting to come to Houston in the offseason, I believe. So it's like,
Mhm.
are you really gonna try to go after somebody that doesn't really want to be on your team? I don't think it's the best move for you. It might be a waste of money, or it might be a clubhouse cancer.
I would say more. I think it's more the money for that part too,
Yeah,
because of course his contract's still going. Unless St. Louis wants to fully contribute the whole salary for that reason, then maybe it's a good deal. But Houston too. I mean, when you bring Nolan Arenado, I think he'll have another year or two on his contract, and he would be in Houston. We already got Isaac Paredes in the hot corner, and you'll have still Christian Walker at first base. Of course, the big man's still out there with Jordan Alvarez. He's more than likely going to be playing DH. So, how would you maneuver the
Nolan.
team?
Yeah,
That's another part.
yeah, and I don't know. I
I would
don't
say,
know if Isak would really play second base. I don't really see that happening either.
hey, dude, don't sleep on his footwork.
Yeah, no,
I will
yeah, no.
say
I mean,
that.
I'm
Do
not
not
sleeping
sleep
on
on
him,
that
but
forward because
but
spring
you gotta
training.
be pretty shifty though to play second base. I mean, third base as well, but I mean, balls usually get smoked really to you at third. They come to you most of the time. Second basemen usually are the ones that are going out for stuff, and then really the middle infielders. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you. But let's start with some trade packages real quick. And we just threw some at the top of our heads. Do not judge us. We are not GMs. We are just throwing
Yeah.
this out there. So do not judge, please. We do not need that here. But of course, you got players like Edward Cabrera. You got Jesus Sanchez. Of course, Sandy Alcantara. And then you got the left-handed hitters of Cedric Mullins. You have Willie Castro. So we're going to throw one out here, Angel. I'll go real quick first. Um, and speaking of Castro, Houston acquires utility man Willie Castro for, and this is what I put, starting pitcher Ryan Gusto. And I said two players. I was kind of trying to figure out which one to go with. I said first one would be catcher, first baseman Will Bush. He's the number 17 prospect in the Astros farm system, or Alex Santos, who is number 29 in the farm. But I'm leaning more on Bush. So it'd be Gusto and Bush for Willie Castro. I don't know what y'all guys uh, would think of that. You think that's too little? Think it's just right there? Maybe it's a lot. Your thoughts? What do you think about
I'd say a lot just because Woody Castro will be a free agent, I believe, at the end of this year. So
it? So
yeah,
what I was sending out would be a lot
I'd say
to Minnesota.
maybe Gusto. Wait, what you said? Sorry, were Gusto and or you said one or the other,
So yeah,
right?
one or the other. So I would probably, and I just said right
Oh,
now,
okay.
I'd probably lean more to Bush than
Oh,
Santos.
okay. No, I mean that makes sense. And I thought you were saying all three.
No,
My
no, no.
fault. That's on me.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
two.
I mean, for Castro, I mean Gusto and another prospect. I think that makes sense.
Stebby, what do you think?
For Castro, let's see. You could probably give up, either somebody like Gusto or Gordon, or maybe look at somebody like y'all bring up a lot, AJ Blue Ball,
Hmm.
and maybe a second player, but nothing like too crazy. I don't, for Willie, you don't give up. I believe one of your top 10 guys in your farm for him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree with that. So that's why I listed Gusto and Will Bush, just for the fact that Minnesota is not going to have not Christian Javier, Christian Vasquez
Yeah,
behind the plate because he will be a free agent next year. We do not know the trade talk between with Ryan Jeffers too, because Ryan Jeffers is playing pretty decent over there in Minnesota. Of course, there's some needs for catchers in the market, whatever major league team. So I would think maybe sending Will Bush. I know there's another catcher in the Astros farm system too, but I think Bush's numbers made a little bit more sense for me. And then of course, you can't go wrong with starting pitching. Ryan Gusto, if
oh, and then it says apparently the Twins need a right-handed batter. I mean, if you could somehow, it would have been nice if Pedro had some value right there, or he was like back. I don't know if he's still rehabbing.
Still, we have it.
yeah,
Yeah,
and I
so
was gonna say Chaz McCormick on that deal
Chaz,
too,
yeah, that wouldn't be too bad.
but I think Minnesota's already kind of stacked. I would say in their roster, at least the depth in their outfield. Trevor Larnick is one, Matt Warner's another, Byron Buxton's another. They still got prospects too in their farm system that are top 10 in the
Yeah, I
outfield.
believe
So
Janik. I mean, no, Walker Jenkins. I think is like one of their guys.
yeah, Walter Jenkins is one. Gabriel Gonzalez is another. So I've seen like there was no need for them to go after an outfielder. They're probably going to trade. Honestly, they're going to probably trade Harrison Bader, who's been playing a
Yeah.
really good defensive center fielder or just really defensive outfielder. So for Willie Castro, especially, he's on an arbitration year this year. He'll be a free agent after this season. So you know if you're the Astros, of course you do not want to give up a lot just for a rental unless you feel very confident that Willie would want to sign some type of extension with Houston, which I think that would be tough just for the fact that they have Mauricio Dubon already, and that's already a utility guy. You can even say the same thing for Zach DeZenzo, who plays outfield and first base. So that is
So
mine.
I entered the trade analyzer like in this little like trade analyzing app.
Oh, you got a little trade analyzer.
There you go.
And
Come
but
on.
what you brought up to us apparently what is a bad trade to the trade analyzer. It says so the stronger side of the trade would obviously be wait, I'm kind of confused reading this. It says 9.42, but it's no, I guess because the total of the trade for like Gusto and Bush would be like a 5 versus like the 9. So I'm like trying to figure this little thing
So
out.
is it so the trade value is better for
The Astros
the
and
Astros
then the
than
Twins.
Minnesota?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Astros. So it'll be more of a fleece on the Twins. It'll be a 35% fair trade. So not
But
a
I
good
I
trade
think
for the
it
Twins,
just
but
makes sense.
Dang.
It just makes sense though for Houston though too.
he's trying to finesse. You just a finesser.
Nah, no, let's
That's
not
the
go there. Let's
that's
not
his
go there.
fantasy baseball
You see,
trades and
there you
fantasy
go.
football
Hey,
trades.
don't get upset that you lost this week. So don't even give me that shit. Don't let's not start with fantasy stuff. Let's not go there because that we can
Hey,
go right
speaking of
there if we have
fantasy
to.
though, Nick Kurz, bro, he got me like 33 points, and I was like, oh my
Yeah,
goodness, that was
He had
dope.
wow, did
50
not know
cards,
that.
right?
In our league, yes, it was
I
50
had
something.
50 something. I was like, damn.
Yeah,
But back to the trade talk. It just makes sense for Minnesota needing a catcher. That's why I
Yeah.
was breaking down that part. And then, of course, you can't go wrong with starting pitching. Goose has already done both roles. If they want him to start some games, he could be a starter. And if they want him to be a middle relief, long relief bullpen piece, then you can put him in the bullpen. So because I know with Houston, think about it. You really think he's going to fit anywhere in this roster when players come, when the starters come back, and of course in the bullpen as well, because you're going to have to put some of them starters returning into the bullpen. McCullers could go to the bullpen. Garcia go to the bullpen. Javier. I mean, there's so many names that can go back into that bullpen, and Gusto's just not going to have enough playing time at the moment.
yeah.
So,
I
Cantu,
guess
you
I
want to
can.
throw yours out there?
Yeah. So I think an ideal pick trade for the Astros would be a guy from St. Louis, Brendan Donovan. Uh, right now he's batting 285
Yeah.
with 55 runs, 9 home runs, 42 RBIs, and three stolen bases. Plays the outfield and plays second base, and that's what Dana Brown's looking for. Left-handed hitting bat, that an infielder. Uh, I would say for him, he does. He is in his. Let me get his contract real quick. He's in his year in the league, so he would have 2 more years of arbitration before becoming a free agent in 2028. So a player with control will be a little bit more pricier than a really Castle, which is a rental. So I would say either Zach DeSenz or Jacob Melton, one or the other on those. Outfielder just to replace that. Jose Fleury, a high regarded prospect, and then some more major league talent in Ryan Gusto as well. Uh, I think more or less for a guy like that, or what do you guys think?
I think maybe you would add one more. You said Zach DeZenzo or
Yeah,
Jacob
yeah,
Middleton, right?
Zach
Yeah,
Dezenko.
or
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Okay. Yeah.
For Donovan, they're gonna want at least like I think
So
3 to 4 guy.
I would say Melton. I wouldn't even say an infielder. I wouldn't even say Bryce Matthews or Shea Whitcomb, just for the fact they have JJ Wenhor. What I forgot how you say that last name. I'll be honest with you, I fumbled that one. But they got him. They just recently drafted, of course, Mason Wynn short. So I did not
Yeah.
see them needing a corner infielder. I'm not corner, a middle infielder. Corner, at least. On the other hand, you still got Nolan Renato. I don't know if they'll be able to trade him. You could maybe potentially put Shea Whitcomb, but I'm leaning more of a MLB ready outfielder. They could probably look into Jacob Milton. It could be
Would you
Chad.
do both Dezenzo and Melton then?
Mm, no,
You
I
could, but
mm. Honestly, I would like to if in that situation. I feel like Dezenzo's a big piece more than Melton. I mean, I like both players, but I would feel like
Well,
there's more value on having Dezenzo because he could play infield and outfield long term wise.
Yeah, and I was gonna say too. Yeah, I would say St. Louis would probably want someone that's already MLB ready
Yeah,
and a positional player. So that's why I was saying maybe a Chas McCormick would be in the deal. Like Stephon said, maybe Zach DeZenzo too, since
yeah.
he's already been playing, but DeZenzo is on the IL. So that's why I would say probably no to that. And
What does the trade analyzer say, Esteban?
I know I'm pretty
well,
sure
no,
he's probably putting that shit
I'm
on.
not looking at an analyzer, but it's just saying that like potential like trade targets for the Cardinals and their world ideal would be for them to go after Eugenio or Taylor Ward.
But they're not. But they're still in the wild card hunt. But they're. I would say there's like gonna be sellers. I just
Yeah,
don't see them as
yeah,
buyers because you still got St.
they
Louis.
probably would. They did start fire, but they kind of mellowed down.
You got Chicago and Milwaukee right now fighting for the division, and right now, literally in this series, they're both playing against each other in Milwaukee. But for Brendan Donovan, like you're saying, Angel, 2 or 3 years of control. Jacob Melton, a top prospect, is going to be on that list. Jose Fleury, he'll probably be on that list too because he's a. Oh no, I think he's outside the top 10. I would throw in Anderson Brito. It'd have to be Jacob Melton, Brito, and I would either switch Gusto for McCormick, or you can leave
Okay.
Gusto at there because if St. Louis is going to give away a guy that has 2 or 3 more years on their contract, then yeah,
Yeah,
they're going to want more,
of course,
especially.
of course, of course.
Then maybe like you could also, I mean, if you really wanted to like gamble around and throw in an outfielder like what they're chasing, I mean, somebody that's gonna be pretty good possibly would, in my opinion, that's still not too high on the farm. Luis Baez at 20, which is 21 right now. So I mean, they are interested in having young prospects. So I mean, at 21 is not too old, and you know, you still got some time to develop him if you want.
Yeah, and then players, I would say for the Astros not to trade regarding like prospects. I wouldn't trade Walker Yonick. I wouldn't trade Miguel Ulola. Kevin Alvarez, I feel like he has a lot of value.
Yeah, I feel
Like his
like
future looks very promising. So I wouldn't even put him in conversations. Joseph Sullivan too, I wouldn't put in conversations, as well as Ryan Forchi because he just recently had a procedure last season, I think, with
mhm.
his arm. So now he's able to get. Let me see. I think he's already pitching, if I'm not mistaken. No, hasn't pitched yet, but they said his upside is really good regarding as a starter. So I wouldn't even want him to be on the deal. So those are the guys, at least for me, I wouldn't want to put in a package. Lastly, maybe Allenber, Santo,
Allenberg, I
maybe.
like
Yeah,
Allenberg. Yeah, I
yeah,
don't know if I want them to touch him, but if
Got promoted to AAA.
if it's gonna benefit us, it's gonna benefit us. You know what I mean?
yeah. But three more. Let's go with this one. What kind of all three of us put this one? Houston acquires Baltimore Orioles outfielder Cedric Mullins and sends infielder Shea Whitcomb.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I think that's a pretty even trade
mm,
And why
think
is
so too.
that?
because Cedric doesn't really have too much. Let's see. Let's see what Cedric's doing right now. I know he did pop up on MLB because he did like a web jam the other day or something like that. So I might have spiked him up a little bit. But I mean, right now he's only batting 221, 15 home runs, 47 RBIs, 68. So I mean, I'm pretty sure that's could be below league average, maybe right there, somewhere in there. Could possibly be below league average right now. So I mean, it's somebody that's obviously if you look at how he's been playing in the past years, I think he's kind of going a little downhill. So I mean, it's somebody that Orioles could kind of get rid of because they have a team that's a bunch of young guys. So I mean, I'm pretty sure they're going to be out here trying to get more prospects to reload on because a lot of the ones they already got rid of for other trade pieces that didn't work out are gone. So they're trying to reload. It's a team that they thought they were going to do good. They did good for a little bit, and then just stuff didn't work out for them.
Yeah, and then Cedric Mullins is getting paid 8,725, you know, $1 million. So it's still a lot of money too. They could pay contract there.
I'm gonna disagree with the Shea Whitcomb just for the fact that I would replace him with another person, with another player. And why I'm saying that is because Baltimore still has Jordan Westbrook. He's playing third
Yeah.
base. Jackson Holiday's now covering second base. Gunnar Henderson at shortstop. Where in the hell are you going to put Shea Whitcomb? Because I wouldn't even put him at first. Because if you give up Ryan O'Hearn, that opens a spot for their number one prospect, who is a catcher, but he's probably going to play some
Oh,
first base.
Pasalo.
Him and Rutschman will probably share behind the plate. But Samuel Basayo, that kid is a freaking monster.
Yeah,
So
he's
I
a
would,
tank, bro.
yeah, I would say more than likely, if I was gonna give somebody for Cedric Mullins, it had to be two low end prospects, like pitching prospects, or one pitching prospect and maybe an outfielder.
Houston. Let's see.
Okay.
We'll send him to Houston,
No Chaz and a pitching prospect or what?
and
Yeah,
then
it could be Chaz. I feel like all of us in this matter is saying the MLB player in a trade for the Astros is gonna be Chaz McCormick. Jake Myers is still. We have the
It's
injury
easier
report.
to say,
It
but
is
I don't know if it'll happen because
exactly.
realistically, what value? I mean, I'm not trying to Chaz or anything like that, but his value is very low.
yeah, but you could do Chaz and then give them somebody like a prospect that they will need. Um,
That's
let's
what I'm
see.
saying. If they even want Chaz McCormick, if they don't want
Yeah.
Chaz McCormick, then you put in
So,
two pitching prospects.
so if you give them, just say you give Chaz and give up. Let's just go with blue ball, just so you get a little value on there, so they don't feel too bad about just Chaz McCormick.
Then
So
I would send that actually because
Yeah. I mean,
Baltimore needs starting pitching.
yeah,
They are desperate for
that,
starting pitching right now.
I could see that trade, in my opinion.
I wouldn't do Colin Gordon because I think he has a little bit more value than
or what about Mullins for Gusto?
that. That's what I was gonna say. That's the only pitcher I wouldn't have put in there was Gordon. Gusto and Blue Ball, you can put in there. But you don't want to put Gordon because I feel like Gordon has a lot more
He
trade
lefty too.
value. Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's already been in the majors. He's had some decent games. So, and like I said, Baltimore I think just needs starting pitching, especially after losing Corbin Burns this past offseason. Zach Eflin is already on the end of his contract year. So they're going to be looking for starting pitching in the offseason. So two more real quick. I don't know which one y'all would like to hear. I guess let me give you the shocking one first.
Yeah.
Houston acquires second baseman Ozzy Albies and right-handed pitcher
Pitcher.
Pierce Johnson. Houston sends Bryce Matthews, Jacob Melton, AJ Blueball, and a low, very, very. This is at least three for me. But now thinking about it, if you're going to get Pierce Johnson, I think it's going to be a low in pitching prospect in the back of the farm system.
Yeah, I'd say trading your 1 and 2 prospects for Ozzy Albies. I know he has control for about 2, 3 more
Yes,
years,
3
but
years. Go ahead.
I think that's too much. I think that's overselling at this point,
And
just because, like I get it. Bryce Matthews will replace Ozzy Albies. Jacob Hudson will help get with outfield help as well, and then Blue Ball obviously pitching prospect there. But I think that's like if you're gonna give up your 1 and 2 prospects, you're giving it up for a guy that's you know 30 home runs each season, 100 RBIs, like a star-studded player.
Who's
yeah,
actually right now too? Not just to run through his stats real quick, since we had thrown other stats. Um, if in my opinion, I think batting average is not a hitting offensive stat for a batter, even though it
mm,
is. But I'll throw his batting average
213,
out
right?
there. Yeah, it's a 218 right now. On base percentage is 297, slugging 322, has an OPS of 619.
619 is low.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very low, 9 home runs, 40 RBIs. Um, he hasn't been the same Ozzy Albies, I would say, since 2023.
yeah. I mean,
2024, I mean, he had a 707 OPS.
I think I'd skip on, like, if he was available. I feel like the trade would be, if you're gonna trade with the Braves, I think the trade would be Michael Harris over, like, if you want a lefty, I think
Mhm.
Michael Harris over Albies, just
well,
because I don't really see. I mean, I like Albies, but I just don't see it really making sense to me much.
Walby's not a bad player. He's switch hitter, play second base. It's just that specific package would be too much. Like if you bring it down a little bit, Ozzy
Well,
Albies for like
that's
Jacob
what.
Melton, AJ
Okay,
Blue Ball, and then like another prospect. Okay, but sending in 1 and 2, that's not ideal.
but that's the other thing too, because I believe the Astro. I don't know if management or like the coaching staff and Joe Espada or the organization, as in Dana Brown, had mentioned they wanted solidify Altuve at one certain spot already for the
Yeah,
future. So that's why, in this argument, I would say here you get 3 years of Ozzy Albies, switch hitter. Yes, the numbers really haven't been the same defensively. He's still a good defensive infielder. You still got your infield coach too, has been doing a good job with everybody. The offense is literally the only thing. If they can fix, which a lot of Astro fans not gonna like that because they've always bashed Alex Intron and Snitker, but if Albies can redefine, I don't know if it's his redefine his swing or he's just missing the pitch or anything like that. But that's kind of the pitch for him.
he has a long swing.
It is,
Yeah.
but you got a switch hitter, you got a good defensive infielder, and that's my part too with Bryce Matthews. If they want to keep on with Bryce, then by all means, Bryce is there. Of course, there's time. They'll have switch him and Altuve. But if you want to solidify your star player at one position, which I think, in my opinion, is probably going to be second base. It should be second base, but
Yeah,
he's been playing a little bit more left field too. So that's why I put Bryce Matthews in this package because Bryce would obviously play some type of infield over there, as well as Jacob Melton, like you had mentioned, because they need outfield depth as well. Besides having Ronald Acuna and Michael Harris, you know, you'd add another guy like Jacob Melton into that
yeah.
outfield.
One person that I kind of wanted to bring up that I just kind of seen right now. Well, it's really two guys, but the guy that I would kind of rely a little bit more on would be like the former number one overall pick, Mickey Moniak. Could be a lefty batter that's not gonna break your bank if you go chase him, and he could play good defense. Or that they're also talking about Talkman, Mike Talkman.
Mm-hmm.
So these are two potential lower end rentals that you could get if needed. And worst thing comes to worst, and you need to
It's
make a
needed.
move.
It's
Yeah,
needed,
I
but
mean, yeah, it's
Yeah,
needed, but like, I mean, if the move is if there's
mhm,
nothing on the table, then you're gonna have to get something. Like, you can't not trade. We need something.
yeah, but it's interesting for Houston and they're where they're at right now is like what impactful bat do you need? Do you need a Mike Talkman, a Willie Castro, a Ryan O'Hearn? Like them are three different
Players, and then
players,
Brandon
three
Lowe
different
too, another player they
yeah,
bring up there.
four different offensive players. You got O'Hearn that hits for power and is a run producer. Brandon Lowe as well, run producer and can hit for power. But there's a negative part to that is because he's always injury prone. Willie Castro can play all the positions, switch hitter, not to mention, has a good OPS. Mike Talkman, and that's the biggest thing for me is like Talkman isn't a bad player. He's a good fill-in player,
Yeah,
but I think you need more of an impactful bat
yeah,
then I seen his name out there, which by all means, I think Houston would rather have Mike Tallman than Cooper Hummel in the
yeah,
outfield,
for sure.
regardless. Or they even had mentioned Cody Clemens' name out there too, and then that's another guy that I just can't wrap my head around because he's always been he's been a player that's jumped from different organization to organization. So why would you want to go after a trade for a guy, especially give up prospects to acquire him? That's just my opinion. Nothing against Cody Clemens either, but if you need
yeah. I
a
think
big impactful bat, you would have to go for the big guns.
yeah, I think a guy that the Astros missed out on was Ryan McMahon for the Rockies,
Okay.
left-handed hitting third baseman. And the reason I say that, I know we're gonna talk about injury updates later, but I the fact that Isaac Perez is getting a second opinion, it was worse than they thought, is what they said. He might not be coming back this year.
Yeah.
So it's just Ryan McMahon would have made sense there. I know the Yankees got him already, but left-handed hitting. So that's what Danny Brown wants. He said left-handed hitting bat, plays third base, can fill up that role. So it's just interesting because if you get like, for example, the left-handed hitting infielders we're saying are Ozzy Albies and Brendan Donovan. What do they have in common? They play second base, right? So they play second base unless you're gonna move one to third base because I think that's gonna be a big hole. Uh, Third base will be a big hole in this Astros lineup and to probably till next year because that's when the players probably be healthy. So it's just the Astros need a lot of help and they're very limited on what they can do just because of cash prospects. So there is someone in the major league of people in the major leagues that roster that will get moved, and it's just a matter of when.
And one thing I wanted to bring up that we forgot to mention that Astros did on the 25th, they claimed um, infielder Logan Davidson from the Athletics, and then Astros DFA John Singleton as of today, and as well let go of Cooper Hummel. So that clears two spots on the 40-man roster, and I don't believe Astros made any corresponding moves to that. So we will see.
For the Singleton one, the DFA was Jacob Melton.
Okay, Melton
Yeah,
coming back. Okay,
Yeah,
they're
Melton.
so then
replaced
the Guillermo was just
Yeah,
outright.
he's
Yeah,
yeah,
outright.
all
Yeah,
right. Yeah, he was outrighted. Yeah,
the free agent. So, um, I like that one. Alec Thomas
yeah.
could be
Alex Thomas could be a good
could
role.
be a
He's not gonna
viable,
he's not gonna be too expensive either.
but he's a good center field too. Not to mention
Yeah,
has some speed on him. Gino, it's another guy that we can,
and
if you want to.
honestly, I think it is possible. I think the Astros, if they really wanted to pursue Gino, I think they can aggressively send over a package, and I mean, who knows?
what's that
Maybe
package, Lorenzo? What you
Yep.
got?
Now here we go, and this is what we have cooked up. Well, at least me and my end. Houston acquires Merrill Kelly, starting pitcher, and third baseman A. Eugenio Suarez for starting pitcher Colin Gordon, outfielder Jacob Melton, number 5 prospect Anderson Brito, and number 20 prospect Luis Baez.
I'd say get it done because Arizona's looking for a lot. That's
yeah,
literally, I think, why the Yankees deferred to Brian McMahon instead because they were highly trying to get Eugenio Suarez because they need the third base help. But if the Astros are serious about winning a World Series, Eugenio Suarez would be the best guy to get. Uh, I don't think Cedric Mullins wins you a World Series. I don't think, honestly, Brendan Donovan, Ozzy Albies, you know, I think those guys will get you to a playoff spot, but eventually do they get you a World Series? I can't say that confidently, but I would say getting Merrill Kelly, Eugenio Stars gets
yeah.
you help in two needs where you need them.
And
Another
you know
infielder.
what? Real quick,
But
I'll even throw in Shea Whitcomb. I'll throw Shea Wickham. That should literally put the final piece to the
Yeah,
puzzle.
I
Yes,
seen on the case.
dude, 5 guys for 2.
that's what they want.
And
So
exactly, they
like
need
Yeah, they
a
won a
big
five.
package. They need a big package. Merrill Kelly's already he's a middle-aged starting pitcher who's really pitched really well this season for Arizona. Not to mention he's a Houstonian. So there's one piece right there. A Eugenio, that's going to be a rental. It's going to be a rental, and
yeah,
that's why. And me and you had talked about it off air. Me and you, Angel, about if you want to throw your top prospects, you would rather get, you rather send your top prospects for guys with control than just rentals. But you make a good point. If you're looking to win the World Series this year, and we've mentioned this multiple times on this podcast, that prospects are prospects. They're not obviously going to be hitting out to be like a Nick Kurtz. I mean, they could,
Yeah,
but they
Think,
can be like a Forrest Willie that has been regarded one of the top best, and all of a sudden couldn't get nothing going. Nothing against him. Didn't want to
think
throw a
about
guy.
Drew Gilbert. What's Drew Gilbert doing? And how is a highly like
I
was
believe,
satisfied?
if I'm not mistaken, he is the Mets' number 9 prospect now.
And he
I
was the
believe.
Astros number one prospect. So hey,
And the
so I
reason
mean,
why I throw Shea Whitcomb's name out there is because they have no I mean, Jordan Lawler's more of a middle infielder. I mean, he could play third base too, if I'm not mistaken, but he hasn't been really doing too well in their farm system. Another infielder they got is Demetrio Christonis, but he's barely in high A. JD Dix, who's a shortstop, and he is in single A. So Shea Whitcomb's already played in the big major leagues. I mean, he's won the minor league player of the year in the Astros organization. If I'm not mistaken, twice. I know once for sure. But the kid has pop. He plays a good third base. So there's your selling point with that. Um, where was I going with this? And of course, with the starting pitcher, and that's what I'm saying. The trade value. If you're going to give up one of them three pitching
They're gonna need a
players,
first baseman though. So like I think Will Bush could stay in there because remember they got rid of Naylor, so they're
yeah,
gonna need a
that's a good
prospect.
point. That's a good point. So
So this is what Dana Brown said on air. He said we feel like we're gonna get something done. So I mean,
And
he
but
said,
like if you're Houston though, you need to like it needs to be done like
Quick, you got 3 days.
now. Yeah.
You got 3 days.
But go ahead.
but like you don't think it's gonna be a last minute, 3 seconds left on the clock.
I
Like
think it
I
could.
think
He
it
hasn't
could
done
be
that.
not
Yeah.
last minute, but I think within the last 2 hours, 3 hours.
No, I think it could be a last minute deal because Jeff Luno did that with the Zach Greinke. I don't know if y'all remember that. I
Yeah,
literally remember that. I was on a bus on a field trip with, working in the summertime with some kids, and all of a sudden I get that like four prospects for Zach Greinke. And look how that ended up. Houston went to the World Series. Of course, we did not want to talk about 2019, but look how that turned out. And that's what I'm saying. If you get Eugenio, you're getting a power bat. Not just that, that just plays his numbers at Minute Maid slash Dyken Park have tremendous. I think he's batting over 280, at least batting average wise. And then Merrill Kelly, you get a number three or a back end starter for your rotation. And not to
yeah,
mention, if you do that, I mean, do you still look into maybe acquiring like a Willie Castro? Because that is your left handed bat that you still
yeah.
need, but is it necessarily, do you really need it because you got a Eugenio?
I mean, you could definitely look at it. I mean, people are saying left and right, but you still got Victor Carantini who can like come off the bench, play some catch plays, play some DH there. The thing I'm looking at is Eugenio Suarez. He's always going to be a rental. It's just gonna for the Astros to just kind of suck giving up all that and see Eugenio Suarez walk because I don't think they offer him a contract extension
No.
if he is with Houston because you still have Isaac Paez at third base. You, you're in Alvarez. The plans for him to, DH a little bit. I'm sorry, DH the majority of part, and you have outfielders there. So it'll be interesting. Now, again, I 99% don't think it's gonna happen where Eugenio Suarez does resign with the Astros, but if it does, that's a scary looking team because you can DH him, switch him out with fighters, but keep Altuve at second, Alvarez in the outfield. Just it can work.
yeah. But with all this trade talks, let's talk about real quick that since I'm hovering over this, four of the worst allegedly trades of the Astros recent history. So one in being in 2018, Astros acquired Maldonado from the Angels. Yes, Maldonado did have a play eventually, and get the World Series with us and all that, but eventually, he didn't do too well for us. And Astros did trade um Patrick Sandoval, a pitcher, left-handed
Yeah.
pitcher, which would have been pretty good for us possibly at the moment.
Yeah.
And then you got to think about in 2022, Astros trade for Christian Vasquez, and who do you get rid of? Willie Abreu, who's performed really well for the Red Sox, and then Emmanuel Valdez, two other good players. And
Uh,
then over here in
They got a
2017,
World Series
real
though,
quick,
so
yeah,
yeah,
real
yeah,
quick on
yeah.
that one.
Besides the World Series, though, come on.
No, but you play for rings. You don't.
Yeah,
you
Never
trade
play
for.
yeah, I
for.
know.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was a good one for both sides.
But I
I'm
get
just
what you. But I
I'm
get
just
what you're
being
saying.
I'm just reading
Yeah.
what they're saying. I'm not saying that like I feel like it, but another big one was in 2015, Carlos Gomez and Mike Fires from the Brewers, which we
Yeah.
traded Brett Phillips, Domingo Santana, Josh
Josh
Hader, and
Hader.
Adrian Hauser.
Adrian Hauser, yeah, who's been performing well too.
Yeah,
Not to
so I
mention
mean,
with the White Sox.
but I mean, it's a good talk though that we had here about the trade deadline. It's a really interesting one. I mean, there's so many pieces, so many moves. I mean, you could say the big names, and you never know. You could get a smaller name, a sleeper, an under the radar player that wasn't thrown in trade talks. So I mean, that's just how it is with the trade deadlines. You never know. Sometimes some teams just want the bang for the buck, and some teams just want to prepare for the future with prospects. So, like y'all said, either some win now situation or save for the future and prepare.
Yeah, for me, I think the best if you're if it I think the trade deadline's a win if you acquire Willie Castro at least. Because Brandon Lowe, I mean, I think that's what you really want is a second baseman who can hit power and who's a left-handed bat. But if you're playing it safe and you don't want to give up a lot, then you really can't go wrong with Willie. And starting pitcher wise, I just see Houston going after a starting pitcher. They've always done it year after year after year, except 2022, if I'm not mistaken.
I
They
got
didn't go for a
I got
starting pitcher.
three I got three names that would be, in my opinion, a W for the Astros. Getting any of these guys, Willie Castro, either Merrill Kelly or possibly Seth Lugo.
Seth Lugo is out of the question.
He's
He
out of the
just
question.
he just
Yeah, he
signed
just
that
signed an
contract
extension.
extension.
Oh
Yeah.
man, okay, yeah. So then that. So I would go either Merrill Kelly and Willie Castro, or even Merrill Kelly and like maybe Edward Cabrera.
Edward Cabrera could be a big haul. I would
Yeah,
well, not really necessarily a big haul, but if you want to do a two-way with Jesus Sanchez and him, then that could be a big haul. But even Edward Cabrera, I think there'd probably be two prospects, possibly three, or not even prospects. It could be one ready MLB ready player and two prospects, or a prospect and an MLB ready player. Willie Castro, I'm looking at his numbers right now. His last 30 games, he's hitting under 200. So I mean, it's just not working in his favor. But I think he's honestly a good hitter. All star for a reason last year. Switch hitter. You could put him. You could plug him anywhere you need to as well. So you can't go wrong with him. You would love to have Brendan Donovan on that team for Houston, just for the fact that he's a switcher, if I'm not mistaken, right, Angel?
who Donovan?
Cool.
No,
Yeah. No, he's
Donovan's
a
a lefty.
left-hander,
I think
Yeah,
he just left you.
yeah, he's
and
lefty.
he's a guy that could play the infield and the outfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is Willie too. Willie could play infield. I believe
Yeah,
I seen him play all the infield actually besides first.
yeah. Donovan too. The bat's a good defensive player, and then plus with the controls of his contract, arbitration, all that good stuff. And last but not least, the starting pitcher, you got to get one. If it's not Merrill Kelly, I'm not opposed to a guy like Adrian Hauser, who's done really good. You're not paying a lot. You're
Mhm.
not giving up a lot for a guy like that. But but yeah, if you're Houston, even an outfielder too doesn't look bad. Cedric Mullins is a guy that you can look into because, like I mentioned, just think back of that Game 6 of the NBA Finals of that Pacers and that Thunder calf tightness for Halliburton, and the next game he played with it and rupture his Achilles. So you kind of want to have a safe blanket with that if Myers really can't, be 100%. And that's another thing Dana Brown had talked about too. He'd rather have a Jordan Alvarez that is 75%, which is, you would want the big man to be 100%, but you
Mhm.
can see how Houston's offense has been plagued through this season, and kind of hard to disagree with him on that.
Yeah, but I mean, like we said earlier, send us your trade pieces, your trade, moves. What would you do if you were the Astros GM? What was your ideal move? But let us know in the comments, and we'll for sure post it up here. Uh, but I guess moving on to current topics, the Nationals are in town against the Astros. Nationals have a 44-62 record last in the NL East, 6-4 in the last 10 games. But they take game one of this 3-game series, and we talked about it earlier, so I'm not really going to mention it a lot. They lost 2-1. Again, Fernando Valdez on the mound, you expect to win, but that wasn't the case. Let's move on with the pitching matchup for Tuesday's game, 7:10 start time. Michael Soroka versus Jason Alexander. Michael Soroka pitched for the Braves before, tore his Achilles twice, now making a comeback in the majors, and he's done a decent job. He has a 3-8 record with a 4.85 ERA versus Cincinnati. He went 5 and 2/3 innings, pitched 2 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. Throws a fastball, slurve, changeup, and sinker. And his slurve is going to be his best pitch. He's limiting opponents to a .117 opponent batting average on that slurve. So best pitch there. So when he gets ahead, you know what to expect. He'll be going against Jason Alexander, who didn't have a great outing against the Oakland Athletics. He's 1-1 with an 8.14 ERA against the A's. 6 innings pitched, 11 hits. When you allow double digit hits, never pretty in the office. 5 earned runs, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. So this is where that Merrill Kelly trade, and New Hampshire start for and New Hampshire starts will come into play because you're not gonna win too many games tossing out Gusto and Alexander on the mound.
Nah, you're really not. So it's kind of you're in this game particularly. Houston's offense really needs to
Step
Score,
it up.
score
Yeah.
yeah,
some runs.
score some
You
runs.
can't
Yeah,
score one. You can't score two. You can't score three. The way Marco Soroka pitched in his last start, and not to mention two. I forgot to mention this before we started the preview. Mackenzie Gore is a trade candidate, so you can potentially not see him
Ooh.
pitch in this series, as well as Michael Soroka, which I think Soroka is still going to end up pitching.
I would go for I would go for Gorg. Gore's
But
a pretty
Mackenzie Gore could be a possible guy that may
yeah,
not start because the deadline is Thursday, and of course, teams are going to be working 48 hours on Wednesday to Thursday.
yeah.
that'd be
So
crazy if he doesn't if Gore just gets scratched and doesn't even go on the road trip and just stays here in Houston and gets left here. I mean, that wouldn't be too much of a bad
Yeah, I
thing,
mean,
you know.
Houston has a track record of doing that. Not to mention Kendall Graveman, Rafael Montero, Christian Vasquez. Yeah, they have a track record of doing this. So I'm not saying they're going to give Mackenzie Gore, but they have done it before.
yeah. Well, like Lorenzo said, Wednesday game 110. At this point, Mackenzie Gore still scheduled to pitch. It does have a 4-10 record, three with a 3.52 ERA against Minnesota. They pitched 5 innings, allowing 1 hit, 1 earned run, 6 walks, 4 strikeouts. Walks have been an issue for Mackenzie Gore this year. Comes in throwing a 5 pitch, which is fastball, curveball, slider, changeup, cutter. Again, he's a former first round pick in 2017, traded for Juan Soto. So this is a guy that has a lot of upside, a lot of good stuff, and that's why, like Lorenzo just said, pretty could be a pretty good name moved in the trade deadline. The actual starter is TBD. I'm thinking Gusto, just because following similar to the A series, it was just Alexander and Ryan Gusto again. So that's my best bet, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see a guy come up from the AAA, maybe AJ Bluebonnet. We talked about that off air too. So wouldn't be, it's just wait and see for that.
Yeah, I don't know who Houston's going to throw out. I mean, blue ball's one. Like Esteban said too, it could be it can be a bullpen game depending on how the bullpen is too going into this next game or today's game with Jace Alexander on the mound. So it depends. I don't know who they can really put out there at this point.
Sure.
Yeah, but all I know is that it's gonna be a lot of drama going around. I'm pretty sure these next couple of days with this trade deadline coming, and the Astros need to do something. So Astros need to do something. Then you got your lineup that needs to produce, and then who knows? I mean, some of these guys probably got in the back of the head. You know, these younger guys, these prospects. Am I going to be an Astro still at the end of this week?
Yeah, no, that's true too. That's I think that's the difficult part, at least playing this game
Yeah,
for
because right
those
now
guys.
it's literally all over media right now. Like, so you could just imagine, like, in a team that's pursuing to have success and try to push for another World Series, like you might go, and it's going to be sad and it sucks. But I mean, at least you're not too attached to the team right now.
Yeah, I have that video when Joey Luperfido got literally traded that day when Jake Bloss and them had gone a package deal. And hey man, he had tears. Like you can just see the emotion of a player that, because you grow up in the organization with the players that you were brought
Yeah,
up with too, it's
double
tough.
A, triple A, single A, all of that.
Yeah, so it's very tough for those types of players, and of course, veterans too. Every veterans knows it's a business at the end of the day, but yeah, like you said, someone's going to be an interesting Wednesday, Thursday. You can even say tomorrow too, Tuesday, because
Yeah.
trade deadline is literally looming at this moment.
But let's move on here real quick to the injury list from the
It's a
training
lot.
room. What?
It's
It's a
it's
lot.
a
Yeah,
lot.
it's a lot. It ain't quick. You know what I mean? So, get ready to kick your feet up in the air and, just listen. The Astros currently have 16 players on the injured list. Below are the updates on a few of the sideline Astros. So we got right-handed pitcher Spencer Arrighetti, broken right thumb, through 3.1 innings with Double A Corpus Christi on July 25th. He's scheduled to report to Triple A Sugarland this week as well. Right-handed pitcher Sean Dubin, right forearm strain through a 27-pitch bullpen at the Astros complex in Florida on July 25th. Right-handed pitcher J.P. France, right shoulder surgery through 2 innings at Double A on the 27th. He will report to Triple A this week. So that's somebody that we did mention could be a big piece right there. JP France, somebody that would be a lot better than having Ryan Gusto out there for sure. Luis Garcia, right-handed pitcher, right elbow surgery through 2.1 innings at Double A on July 26th. He will report to Triple A this week. Right-handed pitcher Christian Javier, right elbow surgery through 2.2 innings for Sugarland on July 24th. And he is scheduled to continue his rehab with Sugarland this week. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, get y'all butts out there to Sugarland if y'all want to see a lot of these Astros before they come back in to the big leagues. Also,
Cheaper
right-handed,
tickets too.
yeah, cheaper tickets. And I mean, like I said, tomorrow they got the $5 margarita. So, I mean, it's a good little bid. It's a good little bid right there. And it's a pretty nice little ballpark. You would like the vibes out there. You just kind of got to withstand a little bit of the heat, but you'll cool off later. Anyways, it's baseball. But left-handed pitcher, oh no, right-handed pitcher, Lance McCullers, you can't skip him, with the finger blister, is playing catch but has not begun throwing off the mound. Left-handed pitcher Brandon Walter, left elbow inflammation, is not throwing yet. So I mean, Brandon just starting to show, after all the innings he was eating with the Astros, now he's starting to get a little fatigued. Stuff like that happens when you ask for stuff, especially for him to eat up a lot of innings. You know what I mean? Outfielder DH Jordan Alvarez, right hand inflammation, is currently going through a hitting progression. Something that sounds like we heard that before so many times, and this is just where you hope he could stay healthy.
Yeah, for
Because
real quick with Jordan, I think he had hit 50 baseballs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he felt good the next day. So it's kind of just like a slow process right now. Just seeing it's not the way he's hitting; it's the recovery after he
how he
hits the
feels
day
after.
before. Yeah, so it's kind of one of the things. Is like, can it be continuously like can it be going throughout the whole time without pain free? So that I think that's the only thing with Houston holding him back right now for a rehab assignment. I think he'll have like two, and because you already heard Dana Brown, he'd rather have a 75%
Yeah.
healthy Jordan Alvarez than 100%. So it's kind of like when your GM is saying that, it's like, okay,
We
this
need
team is
some.
desperate for offense and
Yeah.
they need somebody now.
And then you got outfield slash infielder Zach DeZenzo, left hand capsule strain, continues with his running and throwing program. He began a hitting progression with T swings on Saturday. Outfielder Pedro Leon, left knee sprain, continues with his hitting and throwing progression. Outfielder Jake Myers, right calf strain, is still rehabbing in Houston. Third baseman Isaac Paredes, right hamstring strain, is seeking a second opinion on his injury. Shortstop Jeremy Pena, left rib fracture, hit against live pitching at the Astros complex in Florida this week. He has returned to Houston, will work out with the Astros, and will be at Sugarland tomorrow. Then you have Brendan Rodgers, the last but not least on the list. Concussion and nasal fracture, is currently in concussion protocol and rehab in Houston. He has not progressed on baseball activities. Whew.
Yeah.
You're muted,
Who
so
warned you? Yeah, me too.
No, I just said he went through a whole list of 16 Astros
Yeah.
on the IL. But I mean, at the same time, like I said, if you're an Astros fan, you're feeling good because players are coming back. You need starters. This rotation desperately needs pitchers at this moment because you can't, you know, give credit to Gordon, giving credit to Gusto and all these other start Brandon Walter. They held it down as much as they could. Give credit to Hunter Brown because now, like Angel has said, it's not fatigue, but it's kind of like too, it's a little bit of pressure that you have to stay perfect almost all the time. You and Framber Valdez, and both of them have done a really fabulous job throughout this whole season, holding that 1-2 punch of this rotation. But now you got guys like Christian Javier coming back, Luis Garcia's coming back. Spencer Righetti's another one that's coming back. Like you said, too, Stefan. JP France is another guy. I don't know if he'll be a starter, but could be a bullpen piece or a guy that can start some games too if there's going to be a heavy heavy consecutive games, like 20 or
Taking the
something.
game.
So that goes into a six-man rotation. So it's good news for the Astros, at least starting pitching wise. Jeremy Payne is a plus that he's going to be on a rehab assignment. Jordan Alvarez, like I said, is really,
A
I would
lot of
say,
good names out
pretty
there.
close. Yeah. Uh, Jake Myers continues to rehab too, not to mention. So it's coming slowly, and I think Astros fans are just like already tired of this IEL list. They're tired
Yeah.
of seeing all the star players. They're tired of seeing even the divisional rivals already making a gain. Of course, social media out there too. You got a bunch of burner accounts talking mess and all that.
And
That's
those
the beauty of
trolls.
yeah. You have that's the beauty of social media. But like I said, I think you got to feel really good about where the Astros are and how they've been playing with these type of injuries. Just think of a healthy Houston team. I mean, sky's the limit that they can go really anywhere with all full healthy squad. And if you just get in, two pieces, three, or one big one, one small one, this team can go to the World Series. This team can literally be almost like the 2022 World Series team, or even have some parts of 2023. Even though they didn't go to the World Series, that team was really special too.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of injuries for the Astros, but ending it on a good note, Billy Wagner dug into the Hall of Fame this weekend. Really great speech along with Ichiro, CC Sabathia there. So, congratulations to Billy Wagner. His number will get retired. His number 13, the Astros will get retired later this season, I believe in September or
No, it's gonna be
August.
in August. Yeah, it's gonna be on the 16th. So it'll be on Saturday when the Orioles come in for the weekend series.
Hall of Fame weekend. There you go.
So yeah, that
Hmm.
should be a fun weekend. Retire number, well deserved, honestly too. Not to mention for that guy, relievers I feel like don't get a lot of praise and love, but glad Billy Wagner is in the Hall of Fame, third Astro to be in the National Baseball Hall of Fame. So that's really good for the city of Houston too to have some. Now you had Biggio Bagwell, and then of course you'll have the future coming along with Jose Altuve and some other names that could potentially be on there, but we'll have to see.
Real quick before we wrap it up here. So I did something funny that everybody always doing, asking Chat GBT this and that. So I asked Chat GBT who should the Astros deadline, and Chat GBT came up with trade targets: Eugenio Suarez, Isaiah Kaifa, Alex Verdugo, Jamer Candelario, Sandy Alcantara, Michael Lorenzen, or Marcus Stroman.
Those are
So
interesting names, man.
GBT might be cooking. Chat
I don't know
GBT might
about
be
ChatGPT be
cooking. I
I
don't
don't
know
know
about
about
Stroman.
Stroman.
I don't know about
Yeah, I don't
Stroman.
know
Yeah.
about
I don't know about cooking. I think he's on something.
I don't think about Cook. Yeah, I think that might be on something too. I'm
Well,
agree
I'll
with
tell
Andy
you,
on
he's
that part
smoking. Chat GBT smoking a lot of crypto bites. I bet.
because yeah, Candelario's not even playing on a team right now.
Yeah, neither is Verdugo. He's a free agent.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
ChatGPT, I don't know what he cooking if you saying that's cooking.
BS.
Yeah, I guess cooking BS. But of course, this concludes 275 in the book of this episode. 100 people on this tonight's episode. We really shout out to all of y'all. 11:41 Central Time and Houston, Texas. So yeah, we appreciate the support and the love that you are showing us. Like I had mentioned at the beginning of the show, we're gonna do some more giveaways coming soon. Shout out to the winners that won the ticket giveaways for tonight's game. But like I said, two or three more giveaways. One for sure will be a ticket giveaway. So stay tuned. If you haven't already follow us on our social platforms, it's already above Angel's Head with Twitter and TikTok, Full Steam Ahead, FSA Full Steam Ahead on Instagram, our YouTube page. Of course, we still got some of our media day interviews from the All-Star game. Of course, we have some shorts, we have some reels, we have some interviews from with coaches and players. So make sure you subscribe to that YouTube channel, give that notification bell with that bell, hit it so you do not miss any of these interviews or any type of reels that we've been putting on as well, like it has on TikTok and all our social media. And if you don't want to watch us on the TV, on your laptop, on your phone, on your tablet, whatever you don't want to watch us on, listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. We are there. Like, rate, subscribe, leave reviews, all that good stuff. We appreciate all the feedback. We appreciate you, Carlos Leon. Awesome show As always, guys, we appreciate the love. That's one of the guys that does football, Houston Texans. Football season is coming near, so make sure you tune into his podcast. I think that's called Bring on the Blitz. Talks about the Houston Texans. He's another guy that goes to the games as a media member.
Training
And
camp.
yeah, training camp right now. He's been out there. So if you want to get more Texans info, Carlos Neon's the guy to check out, and as well as his podcast, Bring on the Blitz. Not just about Texans, about the NFL, but majority of the time it's about the Texans. But other than that, felt like Steban saying them 16 players' names. But other than that, boys, Steban, you want any last words before we go?
Uh, Not really. I'm just ready to take my ass to the gym, but
Oh, so, excuse me. Excuse me.
yeah, but no, appreciate every single one of y'all, showing out, rocking out with us, giving us support. Like we did say, throw out some trade ideas, or if not, if you have feel the need to maybe mention us on Twitter and throw out some trades in there too. I mean, go for it. That'd be cool. But appreciate every single one of y'all tapping in with us, and hopefully next time you see us, we have some better news and some good trade acquisitions.
Yeah, 100 plus people, biggest crowd I'd say this thus far this season. So we appreciate our support, all all the help that we that y'all gave us from spreading the word and everything like that. So appreciate everything.
Yeah, and remember too, we are your go-to for the trade deadline. We're here for y'all. We're obviously me and Angel are one of the media members. We're at the games and everything like that. And like we had mentioned in our last episode, if you tuned in and you were listening, we were there when Jake Bloss and Joey Luperfido and Will Wagner were traded for Yusei Kikuchi, and it was a pretty big shocker to everybody. So if we get any info, of course, where follow us. We have our Twitter handles right there under our names. And of course, Full Steam Ahead's always going to have you covered, putting out the trade rumors from other sports journalists out there, as well as if there's a big acquisition from the Astros, we will do an emergency live podcast. If not, then just wait till Thursday night. Thursday night, it's going to be an off day, but that's when the trade deadline happens to be. So more than likely, it will be Thursday that we'll be recording. But hopefully, y'all had a good start to your week on this marvelous Monday night. And hopefully, like I talked to y'all, we'll say with Thursday, any big news happens, we'll go a little earlier. But other than that, just keep it on. Make sure you're on the social because that's where we put everything, especially on Twitter, where we're going to figure out what we're going to do with our podcast episodes. But till then, any last words? All
Happy
right.
happy trade deadline.
Happy trade deadline. Yeah. Hopefully, everybody loved that giveaway. Until then, y'all stay safe. Holy, yeah, I know. That's what I said too. But till then, y'all stay safe. Have a blessed week. And we will give you that recap of the Nationals, give you the results of this trade deadline, and get you ready for the Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park. Till then, y'all stay safe.